with the ArriveCan, it's kind of interesting that what was it really doing that our passports weren't doing? And it created lineups, that's for sure. But now, when they kind of continued it, when you go to the airport, first of all, it's only at airports now, and before it was used everywhere. So what was it doing that could be done at an airport, but not at a land crossing, and so on with that? So that kind of confused me a bit, and I think it made us question what it was there for in the first place. It just, and now it's at only select airports as well. So the whole thing just seems to, you have to question it as, you know, as a citizen, right? And what it's causing us now. When you have a ArriveCan too, when you get to the airport, you still have to go to those machines and get your slip and then go see an officer. So it just seems to me that it wasn't necessary.
Absolutely. And caused a lot of grief in both the transportation industry as well as the travel industry. The last time we talked about the driver shortage, it was due to the vaccine mandates. Are you still seeing driver shortages, and what do you think's fueling all of this?
Yeah, I think as I alluded to earlier, young people as they're growing up now, they don't want to do physical labor. They tend to shy away from it. And I think that's a big factor. Our driving pool is aging, and we have to somehow make it some sort of profession that attracts young people to. And it's difficult, right? Because it's long hours. It's different hours of the day. It's not 9 to 5. With traffic congestion around many of our metropolitan cities now, a lot of the distribution centers are going to 24/7. So they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So truck drivers have to adjust to that. And a lot of them say, look, if we can drive at 2 in the morning, there's not as much traffic. We can actually get more loads accomplished at that time of day. But is that an attraction for a worker, for a young person that wants to have a family and have a good job and all that? They don't want to work overnight. So that's part of the struggle.
And we're seeing that in manufacturing as well. Big challenge in how to replace an aging workforce of skilled labor. So we all are in the same boat. But I wanted to ask you, Steve, what is your biggest challenge other than labor that your company's faced
Hmm.
with today?
I think right now it's never been more challenging for business. A lot of our a lot of our people, and I'm not just talking about us in general here, but a lot of families now, they need second incomes. So I think a lot of people, they have one job and then they have to go out and get another job. And I think that's interesting, because then there's a whole force out there that doesn't even want to work. You know, they're finding that, and then other people are trying to get two jobs to make ends meet. But to our challenges, it's the labor pool that we talk from. Whether it's driving a truck, administration, like in-house jobs, the labor pool from which we're gathering people from has shrunk, in my opinion, and it makes it difficult. The double-digit increases in things like insurance and parts. We try and buy brake drums, a pallet of brake drums that before the pandemic, it's gone up 150%. Every time we buy a pallet, it's $500 more. And that's a killer. And parts, equipment is difficult to get. The 53-foot trailers that we haul all our freight on, they used to be around $30,000 to buy them. Now they're upwards of 100,000, and you can't get them. So it's very difficult that way. That's a challenge. Affordable equipment. And then the tax burden is another thing. And, Josh, and we'll get to this, but carbon tax and all the other stuff, that's a challenge for us.
And it is, and it's huge for everyone. So building on that, what's the most challenging thing about running a business in Canada? And then can you compare that to, I know you have a location in the United States.
The right there, you start off with the tax. Like before you go anywhere, it's a 17% advantage to be in the United States in most, and that could be state to state, it'll different. But I'm going to talk about like New York to Ontario, something like that. It's a 17% advantage just to do business by flipping the light switch on, putting a shingle on the roof, and being in business. Advantage in the U.S. over Canada. Right now, the currency exchange is also a concern. Our interest rates are going up. They're going up on both sides of the border, but it's reflected in our currency. The Canadian dollar is dropping against the US dollar. That makes things very difficult. Gets back to things like the supply chain that we talked about earlier and buying parts and that from different countries, our dollar just isn't worth enough.